So what is this exponential growth bias? This is our misunderstanding of how incredibly important compounding is. And compounding can add a lot to my retirement savings by me just investing a little over time so that it's growing and growing and growing and growing. But it also can add substantially to my debt over time because the interest rates that I pay on the debt growing and growing and growing and growing. So a lot of times you hear people talk about both of these concepts as snowballs. Now, snowball works well for me. I grew up in Maine, so I know all about snow, more than I care to. But if you haven't lived in a place that has snow, it just means that when you start rolling the snowball, it's very small, but then you're getting coverage on the entire outside of it, so it's getting bigger. And as that gets bigger, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So that snowball started at its core, but we're adding on to the entire sphere, and it's getting bigger exponentially as we go through time. The same thing with saving money. So I've already talked about the fact that if I cut back to only getting one coffee out a day, then I would save $3.50 a day, blah, blah, blah. And we built on that. Well, today I'm going to change it up just a little bit. It's the same kind of concept, but with a different item. So in normal times, when we're in the office, maybe we go out to eat a little bit more often than we're doing right now. So what if I am going out to eat, and let's just say that my lunch is costing me $7 a day. If I look at the number of workdays in 2020, there were 262. So with my lunch costing me $7 a day, even if I just went on the workdays Monday through Friday, but I didn't go on the weekend, that would be $1,834 a year. Wow, I mean, that's pretty surprising, right? Because I'm only looking at the $7 a day. But here's the thing. If I invest that money in the market and I only make 4% rate of return because the markets are down, I'm not making a whole lot of money, then guess what? Over 10 years, when I look at retiring, not having that one lunch every single day adds almost $23,000 to my retirement account. And if the markets come back and I'm still being conservative, but let's say that I'm making 6%, then that one lunch every single day adds over $25,000 to my retirement account. Wow. Right? We need to look at that end game and determine exactly how much the money that we're spending is costing us. Now, this is from a negative perspective though too, and this is when we talk about debt, and specifically I wanted to talk about credit card debt because we carry a lot of it. I'm looking at my slides because I want to see what the numbers are. I don't have these committed to memory. So 2019, the average credit card balance for Americans was $6,200. That's what we're carrying on our credit cards. Now, we have to pay interest on that because we may not think of it this way, but a credit card is a debt. It's a personal loan. And the credit card companies charge me interest on that loan. The average right now, and it depends on your credit rating and a whole bunch of other things, but the average credit card interest is 17%. So let's just say that I'm carrying $100, right? I'm not carrying $6,000, but I'm only carrying $100 from month to month to month with them adding on that 7% interest rate in 10 years. Again, I'm looking for retirement. That's costing me $2,300. And if it's at 19%, which is a more likely interest rate that you're paying, then that carrying $100 a month balance is going to stop you from having $3,000 extra dollars in your retirement. So you can either give $3,000 to the credit card company, or you can keep that $3,000 for yourself. And on average right now, we're paying $88 a month in credit card interest. And I was looking for the total amount of debt, and I posted this in the Facebook page a little while ago. 2018, total credit card debt, $870 billion. Billion dollars. And I was actually pretty surprised, and I'll go ahead and say that debt is being carried quite equally across all age categories. And I was really surprised to see that people between 50 and 59 were carrying the largest amount of credit card debt. I don't know, I didn't expect that. I'll go ahead and say it, right? We show our age. I'll go ahead and say that I expected that it was going to be the younger people that were maybe in that 30 to 40-year-old category that were carrying most of the consumer debt for credit card. And that is not the case at all. So I really need to be cognizant of this, where I'm spending money, and that includes the interest that I'm paying on my credit card, because I'm getting nothing for that money except the ability to carry this debt. So how can I make a better decision knowing that as a human, I miscalculate the amount of compounding interest? I can run my numbers up front. It's really helpful if you sit down and you just look at a compounding calculator and type in there, here's what I'm carrying for a balance right now on my credit card. I know that they are charging me interest every month if I carry a balance. So what's the interest rate? And calculate that out so you can see in 1 year how much carrying that $100 on your credit card is actually costing you in interest. And also don't forget, there may be additional fees for carrying that balance as well, not just your interest. And we're not paying attention to that. And we really, really need to. The second one that I wanted to talk about today, so we talked about exponential growth. I can have that work for me by putting a little bit of money in and having it snowball over time to get bigger, but debt works that way too. And the more debt I'm carrying over time, that's getting bigger as